Hey, welcome back. The Phoenix Suns made a trade, but it's not the one that we're waiting for. We all are waiting for Jimmy Butler to get traded to the Suns. We know it's going to happen. It's not a big secret, but that was not the trade they made. They traded their 2031 first round pick to the Utah Jazz for the 2025, 2027, and 2029. They're basically pick swaps because they're the worst of picks from other teams. So they have 3 first round picks now, which is probably going to be used in the Jimmy Butler trade or used to facilitate the Jimmy Butler trade whenever that comes, hopefully soon. Because honestly, it is a tiring subject. Um, but honestly, I could see the Miami Heat holding on to him and doing something similar to what the Clippers did with Paul George, just freeing up the cap space, don't bring in on any other players, and basically just braving through the season, getting where you could get, and seeing what happens after that. But what happens after that or before that, I guess we'll find out over the next couple of weeks. Um, with the trade deadline coming February 6th, so a couple of weeks, and then we'll have a lot of answers. But let's talk about this Jimmy Butler trade. The Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat coincidentally are 21 and 21. I think Phoenix is sitting at not no, Miami is sitting at ninth place. Phoenix is sitting at 10th place. They both obviously need improvements. Phoenix, I'm not really sure what they're going to do with their team. A lot of us knew that this trade was not going to work when it was made, so it's not a surprise that it's not working, but it was never going to work. We thought it was going to work. No, we didn't think it was going to work, but some thought it was going to work because people like the idea of big threes and sometimes a big four. But like, let's ask ourselves this question: when was the last time a big three won a championship? Because Boston, I don't know, Boston has a big team. They have, but in when we talk about big threes, Boston is a dynamic duo with great role players. Um, the Lakers are currently set up as a dynamic duo. A lot of the Denver, who recently won a championship, is set up as a dynamic duo with great role players. So the point that I'm getting to is, do you really need a big three to win a championship, or do you just need those one or two, definitely one, but two stars and just guys who star in their role? I mean, it's not a real question because we kind of see over the years the teams that have won championships or whatnot. Golden State was, I guess you could call it a big three. They, I mean, they were all stars, but Draymond was like an all defensive player, so I guess he was a star on defense. Clay, obviously, obviously Steph, but is that a real big three? Like LeBron, D Wade, Chris Bosh. There's something that could be said about that. Garnett, Allen, Pierce. That was probably a big three, but big threes don't win a lot of championships, at least not in today's world. Which is why it's crazy to try to figure out why Phoenix goes from creating this one big three with Beal, Booker, and Durant to trying to create another big three with Durant, Booker, and Jimmy. And assuming that's going to work, like, yes, Phoenix does need defense. Phoenix needs a lot. If I was Phoenix, it's probably too late to do it now, especially with Bradley Beal and his no trade clause, because it's not like you can just dump them to where you want to dump them for pieces or other parts or whatnot. So they're kind of stuck, which is probably the one reason I could see this Jimmy Butler deal not going down, because if he doesn't want to go to where they want to trade him to, and Miami has already said they, at least at the moment, don't want him, where are you going to send him? There was a report that came out that said that Bradley Beal would be open to waiving his no trade clause to go to Milwaukee. That could be okay. Obviously, that's probably going to be for a package of Chris Middleton more than likely. So where's Chris Middleton going to go? Maybe to Miami since he's on an expiring contract, but doubtful. Obviously not the Phoenix because they're going to get Jimmy Butler at some point, maybe. So I just don't see how this really works out to begin with, but I guess we'll see. But saying that makes me ask this question. Does Jimmy Butler going to the Suns really make the Suns better? Or does it kind of leave them sort of the same, but a little bit better? I think it leaves them the same, but a little bit better. They're obviously trying to dump Nurkic too. So that's probably why they have one of those first round picks, even though they claim they're not looking for other moves or they didn't make the trade for the first for other moves. But they're obviously trying to dump Nurkic. At least they say. I mean, they just traded for Nick Richards from Charlotte. So they're trying to do something. So I don't see how Phoenix gets a lot better, especially to compete with OKC, even teams like Dallas and the Lakers, who also need help, who we'll talk about in a second. So it's just, I mean, maybe Phoenix could probably beat the Lakers because the Lakers are offensively challenged and sometimes defensively challenged, but they're getting Jared Vanderbilt back now. So obviously, then they want to trade him too. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. But is Phoenix really going to be better with Jimmy Butler, or they're just going to be a more no? Because their expenses won't change. Will they just be a two-headed horse on offense with a lockdown guy that's 35 on defense who only shows up in the playoffs? Is that going to make them better? But I know Bradley Beal is only averaging like 10 points a game right now over his last like 4 or 5 games. So I just don't see how this situation gets better for anyone. Obviously, Phoenix wants to make the playoffs. Well, I guess they're fighting for the play-in. I don't think they're not going to win a championship. Not this year, probably not next year. Kevin Durant's going to be a free agent or he's up for a new contract or something like that. So this is not going to get better for the Phoenix Suns. They don't have any draft picks up until, I guess, earlier today. But even those aren't the best. But I don't know. But Miami, on the other hand, how does trading Jimmy Butler or even keeping Jimmy Butler make them better? Trading them, I don't think it makes them better at all. Even if you get pieces back or expiring contracts or whatnot, it's obviously not going to make them better. So they don't get better. And I guess it's just that simple. Miami's not going to get better by trading Jimmy Butler. They have young pieces that are coming along. Ware's finally coming along. They're finally doing the 2 big lineup and sliding Bam down to the 4 spot where he should have been for the last couple of years. I honestly think he'll thrive at that position. Most people think he will. I think he think that he will. So it's like this is the time to kind of lock in and try to go for it. It would be nice if he kind of wanted to stay, and then maybe Miami could bring in a couple of pieces to bolster their roster because Rozier's not playing how he usually plays. Duncan is on and off, and he's always on and off. So when he's hot, he's hot. When he's not, he's not. I wish they would have kept Max Strus over Duncan Robinson, but that's neither here nor there. So I just don't see any move that Miami can make, trading Jimmy that makes them any better. So they're obviously stuck in this limbo period, but at least they have young guys who are paid and playing well. So they'll be okay long term. But Phoenix, nah. Phoenix is dead in the water. Not going to happen. Not winning anything anytime soon. And, oh well, sucks for them. But let's get into the Lakers. The Lakers are like this. It's crazy to see LeBron playing the way he's playing at 40 years old. And Anthony Davis is actually balling out. And the rest of the team is just like, yeah. Like, why show up some nights? Like, trading D'Lo was obviously going to happen. He probably should have just, no, he did right. He got his money and got traded. He knew they didn't want him. I don't blame him. He went back to Brooklyn, and he seems to be playing well since he seems to be playing more free. And I don't know. The Lakers, they clearly need to make some moves, and I don't know what moves they're going to make at all. Do you trade Vanderbilt? Do you trade maybe Reeves? You have Dalton Connect now, but he isn't as hot as he was to start the season, but he's still a rookie and he has time to come along. But Reeves is streaky. He's kind of like a white J.R. Smith, but and that's kind of my comparison to him because he's streaky. But when he's hot, kind of like Duncan Robinson as well. When he's hot, he's hot. But I mean, he's a good player, but I think you could probably use him and maybe Vanderbilt to get something of substance to bolster their roster. But the Lakers are bad, and them along with Phoenix, and I guess you could put them in the same boat with Miami. They're not getting better anytime soon, obviously, unless they trade their first round pick, but it seems like they're thinking about their future now. So the Lakers don't seem to be trending towards trading that first round pick anytime soon, even though LeBron and AD probably want them to, but I just don't see that happening. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think the Lakers have a chance to make the playoffs? I mean, well, they have a chance to make the playoffs. Do they have a chance to make the finals with this roster? If they don't make any moves? I don't think so. But let me know in those comments what you think. Also, the Suns. How do you guys feel about the Suns? How do you truly feel about the Suns? Are they really good? I feel bad for Katie because, the Stephen A. Smiths, the other people on TV who talk about him leaving OKC for Golden State and Kyrie and all that stuff. And I feel bad for the dude because damn, he good. But I mean, I guess you kind of put yourself in this position, but I don't know. Phoenix should have kept what they had with Monty Williams and Chris Paul, and maybe should have just traded DeAndre Ayton and try to improve at center and try to keep that together. They had Mikal Bridges, like they had a good nucleus of players already. So why? Obviously, new ownership, new ideas, whatever the case may be, but they never should have broke that up. I mean, maybe let Chris Paul go, and maybe Ayton, but I never would have traded a lot of that. So, but here they stand as this better team because they wanted to get a big three, and hey, now they're paying for it. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Like, follow, subscribe. Please subscribe for more. And let's stay tuned for more of this crazy trade stuff in the next 2 weeks. I think it's going to be fun, hopefully. And I'm sure it will give us a lot to talk about. I'm going to come at you guys a lot more often. Please like, share, subscribe. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And get ready for a crazy 2 weeks of NBA trade season or trade rumors or the trade deadline, however you want to look at it. But get ready for some crazy times. I do see a lot of smaller trades coming. Maybe not a lot, but definitely some smaller trades. But any marquee names, maybe not. And I guess I probably should have touched on Philly in this video, but I'll touch on them in another video. But Philly is a mess. And Philly is definitely going nowhere. And they definitely have a very, very big problem. And that big problem is Joel Embiid. And that's probably too much to get into right now, but we will definitely touch on that in another video. But Philly's in trouble as well. And that's another team that went and got a big three. So look at how it's panning out for these teams with big threes. And then look at the 1-star teams or the 2-star teams with great role players like OKC, the Knicks, Boston, so on and so on, Cleveland this year. And that's probably a better way to build long term. The Orlando Magic finally caught that memo, and look at them. They have some injured players, but all in all, the Magic are much better than a lot of these other teams than, well, not Cleveland and Boston and some of those, but the lower level teams. But thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. Thank you again.